Hi guys, a bit of a different video today. Welcome to Olive's Tree. Just going to share a really easy, great, delicious meal with you. Unfortunately, I had to turn the sound off and do a voiceover. The neighbours have got whippersnippers and mowers going, and this is the only way that I could actually record this video. So in this pot, I've got some olive oil and a pat of butter. This recipe I call Snuggle Spaghetti. I did say snuggle. Just makes you feel great. It is warm and, comforting in the wintertime, but it's summer in Australia at the moment and we're having it tonight. We're looking forward to that. So, it's an all-rounder, very quick, comes together as long as it takes to boil your pasta. If you're using dry pasta, this sauce is ready. So I have 3 cloves of garlic, which I'm just going to slice up and pop into um, the oil and the butter, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to put some onion in there first, and it's a great recipe that you can, make it your own. So you can see on the board there, I've got garlic, onion, I've got some fresh basil and some fresh oregano from my garden. They're the things I like to use. You might like rosemary, you might like marjoram or thyme. You might not want to put onion in. You might want to put in some shallots if you have them. Lovely. You mightn't like garlic. That's fine. I'm just going to roughly cut this onion and pop it into the butter and garlic, and I'm going to get that to soften a little bit. I don't want anything in this dish to brown. Everything is kept very, very bright and fresh. And as I said, super easy. So I've got that all melted nicely. In goes the onion just for a couple of minutes. And the other ingredient that I'm going to put in the spaghetti, or there are a couple of ingredients, oops, there's a little bit of onion skin, is I'm going to add in some cherry tomatoes or little mini egg Roma tomatoes. They're the ones we like to eat all year here. And if I have a couple I don't use in time and they're not at their best, I pop them into a Ziploc bag in the freezer, and when that bag gets full, then we make this recipe, and it's just that simple. So it's part of me wanting to have a waste-free kitchen, and we do our best not to waste anything. So yeah, so I'm just pulling off some oregano from the garden. I've given that a really good wash. It's a bit tougher herb than basil, as you may know, so I'm going to chop that and pop that in to the butter, oil and onion now. It can handle a little bit of cooking. Those onions are softening nicely. And yeah, so at this point though, you could put in some sliced mushrooms with your onion, or before your onion if you wanted to get a bit of color on them. You can add some anchovies. You could also add some chopped olives, sliced olives, if that's something that you like. Maybe some capers. You certainly can add some lemon zest to this dish, and I have done that before. But today we're going to keep it simple. Just going to show you basically what I do. There's my frozen tomatoes. I'm not thawing them out, although you could thaw them in the microwave. If that's, going to help you out a little bit, go ahead and do that. I just don't feel that I need to. They soften and pop on their own. Now, you could also use any type of fresh tomato that you have. You could also use a tin of tomatoes, that'll be fine too. So I'm just popping a lid on there now, and I'm just adjusting that heat so that they can, start to heat up and soften. And I'm going to cut my basil. I know there'll be people out there saying, tear your basil, tear your basil. I'm going to cut the basil, okay? If you want to tear yours, go right ahead, but we're doing a cut. That's what we're doing. And I have kept a little bit of basil aside just to dress the dish with when it's complete. And there are a couple more ingredients that I'm going to add in, but they're not ingredients that you must have. And that's one of the things that I really love about this recipe, is that if you don't like something, you can leave it out, you can add more, you can add less. It's just very versatile. Now, so I will put in some pepper, some black pepper into this recipe, and I will put in a teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder. That's totally optional. You could use um, vegetarian or a vegetarian vegetable bouillon powder if you wanted to, stock powder. I just like a little bit of chicken stock powder in the dish, but if that's not something you like, you don't have to put that in, but we do that. And also today, which is something I don't often do, is I'm also going to pop in a small amount of white wine that's opened in the fridge, and I keep that just for cooking. If you don't want to do that, don't do that. Maybe you could add a little bit of balsamic vinegar or a nice rice wine, not rice wine, white wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, just to give a little bit of acidity different, from the tomatoes. That's always quite nice. And I have used vinegar before on a lot of occasions, and it's lovely. But today I'm going to put a little bit of white wine in, just giving them a stir. They're, still quite hard. I've got my pasta on cooking beside. I'm just about to pop that in the pan. I've got the water hot and boiling, and yes, so you can see that it's all very quick, all happens together. There's, you don't need to faff about. And yeah, there are a lot of other things. As I said, you could add some capers, you could add some lemon zest, some semi-sun-dried tomatoes maybe, or some preserved artichoke hearts. Look, there's so many things that you could add to this spaghetti. It's just a great way to use stuff up. It's fresh, it's bright, it's easy to eat, easy to cook, you know. So in goes my pasta. I have got a lot of salt in that pot as well. And I'm just stirring around a little bit, just sort of, and you can see there's a bit of butter set on some of those tomatoes that are still frozen, but that's fine. It'll all stir in and it'll be no dramas whatsoever. If it wasn't quite tomatoey enough at the end, you could also stir in a tablespoon or, a couple of teaspoons of some tomato paste puree to give it a little bit more depth if you wanted to do that. You could also add some bacon. If you're a prosciutto fan, which I'm not, you could add some prosciutto. You could add some ham that you might have left from Christmas. That would be really nice. Just cook that a little bit with the onion in the butter and the olive oil first for a little bit, get it going. Yeah, so many things that you could just pop into this recipe. So make it your own. Okay, so I do like to put my pepper in. I put quite a good grind in at the start. Alrighty, so I've just popped a lid on to speed up those tomatoes softening a little bit as they were frozen. But I'm sure you can see that if your tomatoes weren't frozen or they were out of a tin, the sauce would basically be finished by now. It's just that, they are frozen. And yeah, I could have popped them in the microwave for a minute or two. That would have probably been helpful, but I'm not in a rush. I don't feel like I need to, speed it up any more than I already am. It's fine. And the one thing I do with these little tomatoes is I like to just pop them. And normally, the skins don't bother us. But if you're somebody that doesn't like tomato skin in your dishes, you could peel them if you wanted to. But I'm telling you now, I'm not going to. We've never found it offensive. In goes the basil, so showing you that this sauce isn't that far away. And yeah, I've just adjusted the heat a little bit there, and just for a few moments to speed it up. And now I'm going in with a small amount of salt, and yeah, so there's not much to this really, is there? It's just one of those things, just using the back of the spoon. Normally I do get out the potato masher. Okay, so I'm just going to let this cook a little bit more, and I want to get all of those tomatoes really, really hot inside. If a couple don't pop, that's fine. I'm not particularly concerned about that. This is a no stress dinner after all. And so we're just going to continue cooking that. I don't worry about leaving the lid on or leaving the lid off. That doesn't really make much difference. Obviously, if you wanted to concentrate the sauce a little bit more, you might leave the lid off and cook it a bit longer, but I'm not worrying about that tonight. I'm just going to go in here with a small amount of white wine, and don't ask me what white wine to use. I don't drink it, but I do like the flavour in some food, and that one's just fine to use for what I want it for today. And I'm going to let that obviously boil off. And here comes the chicken stock. As I said, optional extra, less than a teaspoon. I just think it gives it a little bit more round of flavour, a little bit more flavourful. It's just something we really like. You can leave that out, as I said. So we'll just keep cooking this for a little bit longer. Okay, so you can see the sauce is sort of concentrated down a little bit from that cooking without the lid, and that's going to provide a really lovely um, consistency to the sauce. It's only something that'll just cover the pasta. Now, the pasta I've got cooking, I always undercook it so that it is just slightly before al dente. And what I like to do then is pop that pasta directly into the pot for a minute or so, and it'll suck in a little bit of that flavor of the sauce. So that's something I like to do. I just think it works a lot better. You don't have to, of course. I've just popped in a little bit more salt and pepper after tasting. Alrighty, so that looks just right to me. The onion is still going to have a slight bite to it. It's not going to be hot and fiery. It'll have become quite sweet, just how we want it. So I'm putting the pasta in. The pasta could have done with another minute cooking in the water, but I'm just taking it straight out of the water and straight into the pan. Some of that starchy water that's going to come over with the pasta will, help amalgamate that sauce a little bit, make it nice and silky. The butter and the olive oil will go a long way to that as well. So it is just so tasty. It's just one of those yummy dishes that are great to have in your repertoire that you can just pull out. As I said, tin tomatoes, large tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, whatever you've got, you can make this with. And so, just for that last minute, I've got the pasta just absorbing up some of that beautiful sauce. And I just think that that makes a bit of a difference at the end if you put the pasta in slightly underdone. I just think for me, I think it's worthwhile. You obviously don't have to. It's just something that I do, and I'm just about to serve this up now, and I am going to make a mess, so you're going to see that, but I'll clean it up eventually. Yeah, so I hope that you'll give this recipe a go, and if you like this recipe, hit the like button and think about subscribing to the channel. It's free to you, really does help me out. And if there's something that you're interested in and you want to see, let me know. Maybe it's something that I can actually make a video on, and maybe we can, you know, get it done, and I can do that for you, which would be, really good. So here we go. So I've got that into my bowl, and I'm just going to pop over a little bit of grated fresh parmesan, but you could use a grana padano, you could use a pepper cheese, you could use mozzarella if you wanted, you could use tasty cheddar, red Leicester, whatever takes your fancy. Use whatever cheese that you like personally. And if you don't want cheese, leave it off. But I like a little bit of cheese over the top, and the dish is ready to go. So here we go. I'm just going to pop a little bit of cheese over the top. I don't put a great deal on, but if you're somebody who likes lots and lots of cheese, make it your own and do so. You could also stir through a couple of tablespoons of cream cheese into that sauce before you pop the pasta in, and that would also be, really lovely. And there we go. Okay, guys, so if you like this recipe, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing to the channel. It's free to you, but it really does help me out, and I sincerely hope you'll give this recipe a go. It's one of my favorites. Take care until I see you next time. I hope the world's treating you kindly, and bye for now.